Hey guys, what's going on? It's your big dreamer and doer, G Dinero, coming to you today with another Money Monday. Today we're going to talk about letting your winners ride. It's just another Money Monday. But first, remember, none of this is tax, financial, legal, investment advice. It's your buddy G Dinero helping you increase your financial literacy to help put you and your family on that path to financial freedom. So let's dig right in. So this was inspired as I've seen this presentation done a different way one other time, but this time I went in and dug in and looked at the history of a stock that many of you will know by the time we get to the end. But it talks about the journey. The journey is never straight up and to the right. There are many pullbacks along the way. There's a lot of FUD. FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. There's going to be negative press on that stock or on that asset along the way. There's going to be people, quote, trying to kill it. There's going to be others thinking it's, quote, going to the moon. And that's what causes that jagged, almost looks like a lightning bolt pattern as the stock rides up and to the right. But the key is, as long as it is generally moving up and to the right, as long as it's a good project, a good company, a strong asset, then you want to let your winners ride, and I'll show you why. Let her rip. So, first of all, don't let yourself get shaken out by short-term price changes or pullbacks. So, as you can see here, this is the asset that we're going to be talking about. I've deliberately left the dates off, the prices off, and the actual ticker off on purpose because I want to build this for you and put yourself in this situation. What would you have done in this situation? Considering that investing is an emotional roller coaster, and much of what you see on the charts, the data, the numbers that you see on the charts, it's derived from human emotion at the end of the day. Most people think it's all a bunch of numbers, right? But those numbers come from human emotion. So that as this stock started out, you'll notice it kind of traded sideways and slowly backwards. So from the IPO, initial public offering, it traded sideways and then slowly started to decrease over the first, whatever this time period is. I'm going to say that that's a matter of months that you see on the screen by the time it hit that low spot. Then you see a spike, a massive spike to the upside, right? It looks like it probably jumped up over 100%, followed by a massive 73% drop. So you have to ask yourself, what would you have done in this situation? Would you have thought you missed the top? Would you have thought, that's it? I've missed my opportunity. It's never going back to this all-time high again. Did you sell at the bottom down there after a 73% drop? If you did, by the way, you sold lower than what it IPO'd at. Maybe you got in on, maybe you got in on the ground floor and rode it all the way to the top and sold it all the way at the bottom. Does that sound familiar? There's a lot of people that do that, right? They ride their stocks all the way to the top, ride them all the way back down again, only to sell at the bottom because they finally capitulate. Capitulation is when you finally throw in the towel and you say, that's it, this thing's not going up anymore. Okay, maybe that was not you. Well, good news. Because right after that 73% drop or 70 whatever percent drop that you see over there where it looks like a TP on the left-hand side of the screen, we then had sideways movement for about a year and then another huge pop, this time an 88% pop to the upside. Did you sell? Did you take profits? Did you close out your position or did you ride it back down again? And you'll notice it dropped. And then what did it do? It consolidated or chop-solidated. Chop-solidation. It chopped sideways, really for all intents and purposes. Yes, we had a pullback. Yes, we had a spike. But then it pulled back. Then it spiked. Then it pulled back. Then it spiked. And if you look at where we end this graph, it's pretty much all the way back at where the spike was, the very, very first spike was at the beginning, on the first slide that I showed you. We're back to square one. We're almost back to where it IPO'd. Well, if you didn't sell then, oh my gosh, there was a huge drop. Absolutely massive drop from there, 82%. Now we are literally back to the exact same level that we were at the IPO. Not the all-time low, but really close to where this thing first launched. And we're years into this project now. Did that freak you out? Did you get scared? Did you sell because everybody else was selling? Because the experts said it was dead? Because the analysts, or analists as we call them, said, there's no way this thing's going to take off. There's no way this is going to change humanity. Okay? No way. Stock's dead. CEO's crazy. You've got to be a fool to be invested in this. Did you listen to those voices? Because if you did, you're going to miss out on something massive. And I'm about to show you what that is. That pop happened right after that huge drop. Massive. 91% pop. Absolutely ginormous, right? Just skyrocketed straight to the top, and you would have missed it. Actually, I don't think that 91% is correct. I bet that's closer to 3, 4, 500%, if not 1,000%. I think I made a mistake there. I'm going to claim it and see if I can go back and edit something in there, okay? Quick edit here. It is a 1,070% gain. 1,070% gain. And then the drop. So the reason I put the dotted line on the screen right here is if you follow that dotted line back, and I put the writing and the subsequent drop right back to levels not seen for 20 years, that was an 83% drop. After that massive move to the upside, we've dropped back down to right where we were 20 years prior. If you look back, you look all the way to the left side of the graph, see where the dotted line intersects the thing that I was calling the TP at the very beginning, that little upside down V? Yeah, we're right back to square one again. Okay? Do you get shaken out? Do you let the pundits or the experts or the analysts tell you this is dead, it's not going anywhere? Or do you stick to your gut? Do you believe that you're in a winner and it's just a matter of time? You're in something before the rest of the world really knows what it is, before the rest of the world can appreciate what it is. Modern day things, think Tesla, Nvidia, MicroStrategy, right? These stocks that people just don't understand them really yet. They don't know what they have their hands on. Okay, well, let's go another step. That happened after that, quote, massive pullback. That is a 3,175% gain. I know that one's accurate. I made sure of it. Okay? Take a look at what it did to the previous gain. It makes it look like a blip. Like nothing had ever happened, right? But had you gotten shaken out after that move where you were back to where you were 20 years prior, you would have lost out on this. You would have missed out on this massive 3,175% gain. Then another on top of that 745% gain. And then on top of that, another 145% gain. And then on top of that, a 162% gain. And those compound on top of each other. I'm talking about that 162 that you see on the screen is just from where the low is marked by that arrow, the double-sided arrow, just from that low to that high. Now look back at the rest of the chart. You can't even see that first big move on the chart anymore. It looks like nothing. And then another 390% gain for good measure. Now you literally cannot see those massive moves on the chart anymore. But don't worry, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So this is the stock. There's that first huge pop all the way back in 1983 and drop. Remember, that was like a 75% gain, or 73 and a 80% drop. Then the second one, an 80 some odd percent gain, and the drop, that was in 91, and then the drop in 98 of a whopping 80 some odd percent drop. And remember, we were back to, and then the third huge pop and drop. And in 2003, this company was back to exactly where it was in 1983. Remember I said it was about a 20-year difference in between the two? So that third huge pop was the one that I said I have to go back and check the math on, and it was like a 100%er. Really, it was probably a 5, 6, 7, 800% gain, followed by a massive 85% drop, and we were right back to levels seen in 1983. 1983 to 2003, it's as if you did nothing, right? Then we had those massive gains that I showed you in big pullbacks like the Great Financial Crisis in 2008 and 9. Then Rona there in 2020. And then we had the rate hikes in 2021 and 2022, which caused it to go down. And finally, this is where we are today on this stock. You probably guessed it. The stock was Apple. That's Apple on a weekly chart. Everything I showed you was a weekly chart of Apple over the last 40 years. 44 years. Over the last 44 years of Apple. Had you gotten shaken out at any point along the way from from that low, and I went from the low of 1985. That was after the first pop in 83, and then remember the pullback in 85. The very, very first one, that was this thing way back here. This pop, the top there that you see is in 83. The drop is in 85. Okay, that right there doesn't even show up on the modern day graph. Does not even show up. What you see is looks like a flat line all the way until about 2005, and then exponential gains happen, and it just hockey sticks straight up into the right. By the way, had you held from 1985 to the all-time high of around 260, that is a 405,909% gain. Call it a 400,000% gain. That's outrageous. That is life-changing money. That is generational wealth. So you've got to ask yourself in this whole equation, do you want the generational wealth? Do you want to get shaken out of these top quality assets? Apple was always an innovator, a top quality asset. I understand today the next iPhone looks pretty much just like the last one. I get it. But I'm talking about way back when nobody believed in them. When Steve Jobs was back there with this Apple IIe, I had one of those things way back in the day. They were pretty cool, right? And the Macintosh, and then the iPod. Couldn't even remember the name of the first one. The iPod came along, and then the iPhone came along, and then the iPad came along, and then the MacBook Pros were there along the way. And then you had the AirBuds, and you got all these other Air products and iPads and iPads and all these things that came out since. And this thing skyrocketed. What's the moral? Stop worrying about the day-to-day movements of a stock or a crypto project that you're invested in. Lower your dadgum time preference. Stop thinking you need it today. Let it ride. These things will mean that one day you will never have to work another day of your life if you don't want to. But if you sit there and trade them and try to get a 5% gain here or a 10% gain there, it's going to cost you big time in the long run. If you're in a quality asset, stay in the quality asset. And get some Bitcoin just in case it follows a similar path as Apple did, because it's pretty much on that same path where it's been dead how many times now along the way? And guys, take it from me. I bought my first Bitcoin back in 2017 and traded it and sold it so that by the time 2020 rolled around, I had to go buy Bitcoin all over again because I didn't have any of it left. I thought I was a rock star making 30% in a few days or 40% in a day. And now looking back, had I just gotten the quality asset and let the winner ride like we always talk about, holy smokes, would have been in a way different position today. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel so that you see more videos like this. Like this video, comment below. Tell me, what'd you like best? What did you learn today and what would you like to see more of? I also coach individual lessons. I coach courses. I coach courses on TradingView and technical analysis, as well as understanding options. If you're interested in learning the charts or you're interested in trading options, I highly recommend starting with one of those courses first if you haven't otherwise. You will get way more out of those than getting on an individual appointment with me and spending an entire hour just talking about some of the very basic skills that I talk for hours, 4 or 5 hours about in those TradingView and technical analysis and understanding options courses. And of course, I'm G Dinero. I'm here to help you increase your financial literacy to help put you and your family on that path to financial freedom. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next time.